Good evening, friends. I wanted to come to you guys tonight to share a story with you so that you can be tucked in by your favorite librarian. My name is Mrs. Megan Durbin, and I am the librarian at Jesse Stuart Elementary School. And I know that we tell you guys that it's super important to read stories at home or find somebody to read a story to you, but that's not always possible. So I thought, what better way to help you guys out than by reading you a bedtime story from my very own bed. So tonight I have Pete the Cat and the Bedtime Blues. So I'll read the story, then show the pictures just like we do at school. This story is by Kimberly and James Dean, and you guys probably know Pete the Cat. He's pretty fantastic. Pete and the gang had a great day. They'd been at the beach, surf and sun, and tons of fun. There's Pete and all of his friends at the beach. But when the sun went down, they didn't want the fun to end. Pete had an idea. See that light bulb over his head? Shows that Pete had an idea. Hey, how about a sleepover? More time for fun, tons of fun. Groovy! Pete's place, let's go! All of his friends hop on their bikes to go to his house. The party was far out, but they knew they couldn't stay up all night. The gang decided it was time to say goodnight. On went the pajamas and out went the light. Good night, Gus. Good night, alligator. Good night, Toad. Good night, Pete. They got all their sleeping bags laying on the floor. Pete was just about to catch some Z's when clap, clap, clap. Who did that? Pete asked. It was me, said Grumpy Toad. I don't want to go to bed. I want to clap instead. Pete covered his head. Poor Pete just wants to sleep, but Grumpy Toad does not. This cool cat needs to go to bed. Good night, Gus. Good night, alligator. Good night, Toad. Good night, Pete. Time to sleep. Try to go to sleep again. Pete tried again to catch some Z's when rat-a-tat-tat. Who did that? Pete asked. It was me, said Gus the platypus. I don't want to go to bed. I want to jam instead. Pete covered his head. This cool cat needs to go to bed. Time to sleep. Good night, Gus. Good night, alligator. Good night, Toad. Good night, Pete. Pete closed his eyes to catch some Z's when all of a sudden he heard munch, munch, munch. Pete had a hunch. It was alligator. He was always up for eating. What could Pete do? All the clapping, rat-a-tat-tatting, and munching was giving him the bedtime blues. Pete had a groovy idea. He got out his favorite bedtime story and started to read, first to himself and then to the whole gang. Pete noticed it was finally quiet. No more clapping, no more rat-a-tat-tatting, and no more munching. They all settled down. No one made a sound. Pete yawned and turned off the light. Good night, sleep tight. Time to catch some Z's. Tomorrow was another day for surfing, sun, and tons of fun. Well, maybe you won't go surfing and play in the sun tomorrow, but I hope you have tons of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed your bedtime story tonight, and I hope you guys sleep tight. See you tomorrow at school.